Now this is all for race position. Vince?
Well, that's 17 of Trevor Bayne. He's had his hands full on the bottom. He says it's just sliding around a lot, way too loose at the start of the run. Said he felt like they've given up too much at the start of the run, each of these last two restarts, feeling as though their car gets better late in the run, but by then they've given up too much and have too much ground to make up. If he can get it going early in the run, they might have something.
Paul Menard gave him a little bit of a nudge there, and he was able to gather back up left side of your screen. Great battle going on between Truex and Allgaier for sixth.
Justin Allgaier had made a pass on Martin Truex, but Truex coming back on the high side trying to make that work again.
They're side by side right behind them. It's Ryan Newman and Sorensen and Almirola. Now Harvick still on the high side. Now he's under attack for second place. Brad Keselowski coming up alongside. What's the latest on the 33, Jamie?
Marty, remember on that first round of pit stops, Kevin Harvick opted not to make any changes. Now he says the car starting out is a bit too free, and that could be the reason why we're not seeing him jump out to the lead as you see the 22 all over his bumper. Marty?
All right, there is three wide action further back. Mike Wallace, remember, he started in the rear of this field. There's Danica Patrick on the inside. On the high side is Brendan Gaughan. Now, Wallace is a lap down in 21st. Patrick is 22nd. Brendan is 17th. Back to the battle for second right now. And here is Harvick still with Brad Keselowski all over him.
Yeah, and I think Harvick's car will come around after we get some laps run here. He doesn't want to lose too much more contact with Kyle Busch, but what we've seen with these looser race cars, as they get some laps, this place will typically tighten up a little bit.
Yeah, we saw that with the 99 car, Martin Truex. His car was really loose, slid back, way back, but he started coming like gangbusters at the end of that long run.
Well, it reminds me of the very start of the race. Kyle jumped out to the early lead. Then it was Kevin who reeled him in and then eventually took the lead 9 laps in to the start. So we'll keep an eye on, see what happens this time around.
Yeah, I think watching Kevin's car right now is starting to come to him a lot better.
Yeah, it's kind of hitting the sweet spot for Kevin. It's definitely coming back towards Kyle Busch.
How about Carl Edwards now on the back bumper of Joey Logano? That's the battle for fourth on the racetrack.
Yeah, you can see from that shot right there, Kevin Harvick has caught Kyle Busch now. It only took 2 laps to do it.
Yeah, the great thing about that for Kevin, if it goes a long run, he'll be in good shape. But if it comes down to a short run for the win, looks like Kyle Busch will have the advantage.
Boy, and look at Logano and these guys all getting together here with Keselowski and Joey side by side, and all of a sudden Keselowski's lost contact, and here comes Logano around him, and Carl's going to take the low line as well and try and follow on through. And meanwhile, up front, here comes Harvick, just as we talked about. Here it's almost identical to what happened at the start of the race.
Yeah, and that's just the difference in the way these cars are going to be set up a little bit. Kyle's car is tight enough that he can get out there, jump out there, but that hurts him then. The car just continues to get tight, where Kevin's car was a little bit free. Now it's starting to come to him probably right there in neutral, where he's going to really make some good time.
It's got to be fun as a driver when your car finally gets to that sweet spot and you say, okay, now, and you see him coming back towards you because you know the pass is going to be easy.
Yeah, it's a great feeling as long as you know that there's not going to be something like a green-white checker at the end of the race.
I was just going to say, Jason Radcliffe just took a notepad and said, okay, we want JWC. Here comes Carl Edwards again on the 22 of Brad Keselowski. From on board with Brad's perspective out the back.
Yeah, Carl looks like he's made an adjustment on his car, too, that seems to be fitting him a little bit better. Wasn't able to complete that pass on Keselowski yet.
I was talking to Carl before qualifying, and I said, well, how much did you give up? As here comes Joey Logano on his teammate for second position. We'll get back to Carl's story a little bit later because Joey has just taken over the second spot.
Yeah, that's kind of what we saw in that first run, that Joey's car came around a little bit, said he was a little too loose to start with, needed to make an adjustment. Looked like they did that.
Yeah, sometimes these long runs, that can actually switch back over again. I mean, Kevin Harvick can get a big lead, but at the very end of that first long run we had, Kevin Harvick is actually just a tick slower than Kyle Busch. So it can actually even flip back the other way if it's an extremely long run.
You saw there momentarily, top 5, all the way from Harvick to Logano, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, and Carl Edwards after 59 of 150 laps here at Auto Club Speedway. The top 5 here at Auto Club Speedway across the top of your screen. You're looking at the top 3 and the bottom as they're duking it out. The drivers currently in that top 5, they've won 22 of the 29 races so far this year, and this is getting really good as there goes Kyle underneath and around Joey.
I was a little surprised that the way that Joey Logano got up there was running kind of in between these seams down in 1 and 2, and he moved up the racetrack for some reason. Kyle's found that line, and now he's doing a better job. He's down, but he goes all the way to the apron here.
Man, he was all the way down the apron.
And it has closed him up on the 33 of race leader Kevin Harvick. Harvick has led 48 laps, Kyle 14. Martin Truex Jr. has led 1. Those are our 3 leaders right now, but this battle for the top spot between Kevin Harvick, as he's soldiering alone against the 2 Joe Gibbs racing machines of Kyle Busch and Joey Logano, and here comes Kyle again. Can't get it done.
Yeah, he'll make a big dive at him down here in turn 3, though. He'll go those left sides back on the apron. He'll actually probably pull up close to being beside Harvick.
Kevin said before qualifying he felt as the day went on, turns 3 and 4 would be much more wicked than turns 1 and 2. He's hanging on to the spot and actually opening up a little bit of ground now as we've completed lap 66.
Look who's in the lucky dog spot. Danica Patrick is starting to pass a lot of cars and put herself in position to get that lap back if the caution comes out.
Yeah, these are 2 cars that were on the lead lap. She just passed at the 98 and the 17.
Doing it, girl. It looks good.
She's doing a great job.
Menard is in 14th right now, and you're right, she did go around him. What's the latest you're hearing, Vince?
Well, Danica's becoming much more comfortable. She's talked about throughout the course of the weekend that it feels like years ago, not months ago, that she was here before when she raced here in February. Feels like she's way ahead of the curve as compared to before. Her spotter helping her through the corners. They've really been working on her arc through the corners and letting it roll through on the bottom. Updating on her lap times, leaps and bounds better. Each week we hear on the radio from Danica Patrick. She's doing pretty well so far.
Well, let's show you the biggest movers in the race so far. As there you see Brendan Gaughan, since the restart, has picked up 6 spots. Danica has picked up 5, and she is in that lucky dog spot, 1 lap down in 19th. And I thought the comment that really spoke volumes in the pre-race broadcast was when she said, when I came here before, it felt like a 1.5-mile track. Now it feels like a 2-mile track. Explain what she was talking about.
Well, everything was happening. She was trying to take in so much and give so much information that, she didn't even realize where she was on the racetrack a lot of times. And so now she comes here. We see a battle here again as Joey Logano is trying to take that 2nd spot back away from Kyle Busch. But she was just so overwhelmed with what was happening because she'd come from Daytona in a stock car, which was totally different than this. Now she was able to get here, relax, and really break the racetrack down. And they brought a better setup back for her, too, Andy.
They got a great car, and I got to think that Tony Uri Jr. down there is thinking, man, wish we could get a caution because they could be right in this thing for a top 15, maybe even better finish.
Well, as we've had the 1 caution so far, and if you really want to know how the record is for cautions, well, back in February, we only had 4. In this race last year, we had 10, so it could go anywhere as far as the number of cautions. We're working now, it'll be lap 69 that we have crossing the stripe. Let's go back to the battle for 11th on the racetrack as you got Michael Annett, Eric Almirola, Brendan Gaughan, and Gaughan is flying by Michael on the high side.
Yeah, we know Brendan Gaughan likes to get up there kind of high, wide, and handsome and make things go, and he's really making that work.
Let's go back to the battle for 2nd because Kyle, as you know about Kyle, doesn't like to be behind anybody.
Well, he's not going to get out of the gas for anything. There's plenty of racetrack out there. Somebody's in the lane that he wants to go. He's still stay in the throttle and see where he can go somewhere else and make a pass like he did right there for 2nd on Joey Logano.
To go back to Brendan Gaughan real quick, he's got a little fresher tires than these other leaders. He pitted on that last caution. Looks like Paul Menard's back in, Dave.
Yeah, this time they think they have a tire going down, Andy, and they think it's either right rear or left rear. They're going to go to the right side. Let's see if they change all 4 just to make sure. Yes, indeed, they're going to. Definitely left rear looks flat to me. So Paul not having a good day after a decent qualifying run this morning.
He had run 21 laps on that set of tires, and obviously a tough break for Paul Menard as he was trying to make a career best streak and continue it here. And race still young enough that he might be able to get back.
Yeah, he'd need for it just to kind of cycle around another set of green flag pit stops. If that could happen, it would work out okay for him.
Check in on Justin Allgaier and the 99 of Martin Truex, and that's the battle for 6th.
We saw him make an adjustment on his car on that green flag stop. Must have